Let's be honest, the world of learning English can feel like a total jungle. You've got 1,000 apps, a million YouTube videos, and probably that old textbook from high school still gathering dust on your shelf. It's a lot. But what if there was a clear path through all that noise? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut through the confusion and give you a modern roadmap, one that actually takes you from just studying English to really using it with confidence.
Does this sound familiar? You've put in the hours, you know the grammar rules, you've memorized lists of vocabulary, but the second a real-life conversation starts, your mind just goes blank. If that's you, trust me, you are so not alone. This is one of the most common frustrations out there, and it's exactly what we're going to tackle today.
Okay, here's the first and honestly the most important mindset shift you need to make. Stop treating English like it's just another school subject. It isn't history, it isn't math. It's a practical skill, like learning to ride a bike or play an instrument. You can't just read about it in a book, you have to learn it by actually doing it.
And this slide really gets to the heart of the problem. The old way, the way we were all taught in school, is obsessed with being perfect. It teaches you to be terrified of making mistakes, and that fear can just be paralyzing. But the modern way, it completely flips that idea on its head. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is just to communicate. It's all about being understood and building the confidence to actually talk to people.
And that's the big secret right there. The whole point of learning a language is to connect with other human beings, to share ideas, to tell stories, to just understand each other. The second you make connection, not perfection, your main goal, it's like all that pressure just melts away, and suddenly learning can actually be fun again.
So this idea of focusing on connection over perfection, it isn't just some nice feel-good concept. It's actually backed by the science of how our brains are literally wired to learn a language. And if you understand just a little bit of the science, it can completely change how you approach everything. At the core of all this is something called communicative language teaching, or CLT. Now, I know it sounds super academic, but the idea is incredibly simple. The absolute best way to learn a language is by using it in realistic situations. It's learning by doing, not just by studying rules. And what's fascinating is how perfectly this aligns with what we know about how we, as adults, learn. See, unlike kids, we need to know why we're learning something. We're practical, we're goal-oriented, and we want to be able to use what we learn right away. So when you frame your English learning around your own personal goals, like being able to talk to a new coworker or order dinner on a trip, your motivation just skyrockets.
The research also gives us some really comforting insights. First, that feeling of anxiety or low confidence, researchers call it the affective filter, and it can literally put up a wall in your brain that blocks learning. So finding low-pressure ways to practice is absolutely key. It's also completely normal to go through a silent period where you're just listening and absorbing everything. And all those little mistakes you make, they're not failures. They're a totally natural part of the process called inner language, and they actually show that your brain is working hard to figure things out.
Okay, so we've got the mindset and we've got the science. Now let's get practical. In this day and age, we have an incredible language lab right in our pockets. The trick is just choosing the right tools, the ones that actually line up with these modern learning principles.
The golden rule is this. You want to look for tools that get you to actively participate, not just passively consume content. The best apps, the best websites, they simulate real conversations and use authentic materials, which is exactly what your brain is craving to build that fluency. So instead of searching for that one perfect app, which, spoiler alert, doesn't exist, let's ask a better question. What specific skill do I need to work on today? If you need a solid, structured foundation, an app like Babbel is great. If you just need to start talking, something like Pimsleur gets you speaking from the very first lesson, while Italki connects you with real tutors. Or maybe you need to work on your accent. AI tools like Elsa Speak give you instant feedback. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. And hey, don't forget about these more specialized tools. Sometimes you just need to hear one tricky word pronounced correctly. An audio dictionary is perfect for that. Text-to-speech tools can turn any article you find online into a personal listening lesson. And of course, there are some amazing YouTube channels out there dedicated entirely to breaking down the most difficult sounds in English. So, you've got the tools, but a gym membership doesn't get you in shape, right? You have to actually show up and use the equipment. This next part is all about how you can practice effectively to turn what you know into a real usable skill.
Oh man, this is such a critical distinction. Passive listening, like having an English movie on in the background, that's great for getting used to the rhythm and the sound of the language. But active listening, that's where the real progress happens. This is when you are focused. You're pausing a podcast to look up a word. You're repeating a phrase out loud to get it right. You're trying to catch every single detail. You really need both, but don't ever mistake passive listening for focused practice.
The key here is to find activities that actually force you to use the language to get something done. Role-playing is fantastic for this. Practice ordering a coffee in English before you even leave the house. Information gap activities, where you and a partner have to talk to each other to solve a puzzle, are amazing. And even simple interactive games can be a really fun, low-pressure way to start speaking.
And in the end, this is what it's all about. Just being able to have these simple, everyday conversations. This isn't about being able to debate philosophy in English. It's about being able to navigate daily life, to connect with the people around you, and to feel comfortable in the world. This simple question is a perfect example of a realistic, totally achievable goal.
And if you're wondering if all this effort is really worth it, well, look at this. A huge study found that a whopping 87% of people who commit to online learning see a direct, tangible benefit to their career. We're talking promotions, raises, new job opportunities. Learning English isn't just a hobby. It is one of the single most powerful investments you can make in your own future.
So let's bring it all home. Forget about this vague idea of becoming fluent overnight. The modern path to learning English is about focusing on connection, understanding the science, using the right digital tools for the job, and practicing with real-life activities. Your journey doesn't start with a textbook. It starts with a single, simple question. What conversation, no matter how small, are you going to try to have today?